I was in the middle of a rush, the kind where you can't even think straight. Saturday morning and the line was out the door. 2 coworkers called out, and I was the only one on the bar. That's when Megan walked in. You know Megan, right? The so-called micro-influencer with 15K followers. She came in almost every day, always with that complicated latte order, always wanting extras for free, all because she posted about us on Instagram. But this time was different. I was under pressure, trying to keep up. Then she asked for her usual freebies, extra syrup, oat milk, whipped cream. I told her not today. My manager was watching the cameras. I'd been warned before. She didn't like that. Not one bit. She got snotty, said she'd take her business elsewhere, and then she did something I didn't expect. She pulled out her phone, took a photo of me mid-reach for a cup. Before I could say anything, she posted it. Shop name has the worst service, she wrote. Barista named my name was so rude for no reason. Don't go here. I felt my stomach drop. Within hours, her followers attacked. 3 one-star Yelp reviews, all naming me. 2 people even came in demanding discounts, said they saw what I did. I was just doing my job. But it didn't stop there. My boss reviewed the footage. He laughed. Told me I did nothing wrong. But it didn't feel like nothing. My coworkers had opinions. Some said I should have just given her the upgrade. Avoid the drama, they said. The bad press. But it wasn't just about a $1.50 upgrade. It was about the principle, the policy. Megan knew it. Still, her comments on our Instagram posts didn't stop. Remember when your staff harassed me? She wrote. Every time I saw it, it stung. We lost a few regulars over her story. It made me doubt myself. Was I the bad guy here? Should I have just let it go? I feel like I was just doing my job. Yet, the fallout was real. And it made me question, did I go too far? And then, just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, one of Megan's followers came storming into the shop. She was furious, waving her phone around, showing everyone the post. She demanded a free latte as compensation for the horrible treatment Megan had supposedly endured. It was chaos. I tried to explain that we didn't have any agreement with Megan, but she wasn't having it. She got loud, drawing eyes from everyone in the shop. I could feel my face burning, partly from embarrassment and partly from frustration. My boss had to step in and handle it, calmly explaining our policy. The woman left in a huff, but not before throwing in a final jab about how we'd lost her business forever. I tried to shake it off, but it was like every word just piled on the stress of the morning. After things finally calmed down, I had a moment to breathe. I went to the back, leaned against the wall, and tried to collect myself. Just as I was starting to feel somewhat normal again, my phone buzzed. It was a message from a friend who saw Megan's story. "Hey, are you okay?" she asked. I appreciated the concern, but it was just another reminder that this whole thing was out there for everyone to see. Back at the counter, I noticed some of the regulars whispering. A couple of them gave me sympathetic smiles, which helped, but it was hard not to feel like everyone was judging me. I just wanted the whole situation to blow over, but it seemed like Megan wasn't going to let that happen anytime soon. Later that day, my boss called me into his office. He assured me again that I did nothing wrong and that he had my back. We talked about how to handle situations like this in the future. He mentioned possibly putting up a notice about our policy on influencer freebies, just to make it clear. I was grateful, but part of me wondered if it would even matter when someone like Megan had such a loud voice online. Despite the support, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease. I mean, what if this affected my chances at a promotion or raised doubts about my ability to handle pressure? It was hard not to let my mind wander into all the what-ifs. I just had to keep reminding myself that I'd stood my ground and that had to count for something. As the day dragged on, I tried to lose myself in the rhythm of making drinks. But every time the door swung open, my heart skipped a beat, half expecting another confrontation or a whisper of Megan's name. The whispers and glances from customers were like a constant background noise. I never imagined one person's Instagram post could cause such a ripple. Then, just before closing, an unexpected visitor walked in. It was Megan herself. She stood at the counter, sunglasses perched on her head, scrolling through her phone like she had all the time in the world. I braced myself, ready for round 2. But when she finally looked up, she gave this half smirk, half shrug, like she was amused by the chaos she'd caused. "Hey," she said, almost casually, like we were old friends. "I didn't mean for it to blow up like this." I was stunned. Part of me wanted to snap back, but I just stood there trying to process her sudden change of tone. She continued, "People just overreact sometimes, you know. I was just frustrated." It was bizarre. Here she was, the source of all this drama, acting like it was no big deal. I could feel this mix of anger and disbelief bubbling up. I took a slow breath before responding. "Well, it did blow up, and it's been a lot." She nodded, almost like she understood. "I'll take the post down," she said. "And maybe mention you guys in a nicer way next time." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Was this her way of apologizing? It felt off, but if it meant the end of this nightmare, I'd take it. After she left, I felt a strange sense of relief, mixed with lingering frustration. It was like a storm had passed, leaving an uneasy calm. I hoped this meant the end of the Yelp reviews and the angry customers. But deep down, I was still wrestling with everything that happened. Would this whole fiasco make me second-guess every decision at work? As I cleaned up and locked the doors that night, I couldn't help but wonder, was standing my ground worth all this drama? Was standing my ground worth all this drama? That question lingered with me as I headed home, replaying everything in my mind. I tried to convince myself that I had done the right thing by sticking to policy, but the day's chaos felt heavy. The next few days at work were a mix of tension and cautious optimism. Megan did take down the post as she promised, and slowly, things started to settle. Some regulars returned, and the whispers faded. The supportive smiles from a few loyal customers became a source of comfort, reminding me that not everyone believed the worst. My boss put up a sign near the register, clearly stating our policy on influencer freebies. It was a small change, but it felt like a step in the right direction. We even had a meeting to discuss how we'd handle similar situations in the future, making sure everyone was on the same page. It was nice to know that my boss had my back and valued my input in creating a better work environment. Megan didn't show up for a while, and honestly, her absence was a relief. It gave me space to breathe, to regain some sense of normalcy. I focused on doing my job, trying to shake off the self-doubt that the incident had stirred. With every latte I made, I felt a little more like myself again. As for Megan, she eventually returned, keeping her distance, her orders more straightforward, no freebies requested. It was a silent truce, I suppose. We didn't exactly talk, but there was an unspoken agreement to let things be. I couldn't tell if she felt any remorse, but it didn't matter as much anymore. I had learned to let go of the need for an apology. The experience taught me a lot about standing up for myself, about the importance of clear communication and boundaries. It also reminded me of the power social media holds and how easily it can sway opinions. But despite the turmoil, I realized that I couldn't control what others thought or did. All I could control was my reaction and how I chose to move forward. As I locked up the shop one night, the air felt lighter. The stress had finally begun to dissipate, leaving room for reflection. It wasn't an easy ride, but I came out of it stronger, more confident in my choices. I learned that sometimes standing your ground means facing storms, but it's those storms that shape us. I walked home, the night air cool and refreshing, letting the events of the past weeks settle into memory. As I turned the corner, I couldn't help but ask myself one last time, with a hint of uncertainty, was it really worth it? Was it really worth it? That question hung with me as I walked home, trying to make peace with everything that had happened. The days following Megan's visit were tense, but the shop slowly returned to its usual rhythm. Regulars trickled back in, and the gossip about the incident faded into background chatter. My co-workers and I shared a few knowing looks and even some laughs about it, a sign that the storm had passed, leaving only minor ripples in its wake. Megan did take down her post as she promised, and while she didn't officially apologize, the fact that she stopped her campaign against me was enough. The Yelp reviews weren't erased, but new ones started coming in, bringing up our average rating once more. It was a relief, seeing the shop bounce back, knowing that my small act of defiance didn't cause irreparable harm. My boss's decision to post a clear policy about influencer freebies was a godsend. It meant that if another situation like this arose, we were all on the same page. I felt more empowered at work knowing that I had a say in how we handled these challenges. It wasn't just about coffee anymore. It was about standing up for what was right, for maintaining the integrity of my job and the shop. Megan's absence was noticeable but welcome. When she eventually returned, her demeanor had shifted. Her orders were straightforward, and she didn't push boundaries. It was as though she recognized the unwritten rules we were both now abiding by. We exchanged polite nods, nothing more. It was a silent acknowledgement of the past and an unspoken agreement to move forward. I realized that this whole ordeal had taught me more than just the power of social media. It was about resilience and the importance of standing firm in the face of adversity. I'd learned that sometimes doing the right thing doesn't feel good immediately, but in the long run, it strengthens you. It builds character even if it comes with storms and doubts. As I reflected on those chaotic weeks, I understood that while Megan's actions had shaken me, they hadn't broken me. Instead, they'd pushed me to grow, to define my boundaries more clearly. I'd discovered the strength of my convictions even as I grappled with the fallout. Walking home that evening, I felt a strange mix of closure and curiosity. The cool night air was refreshing, a reminder that life moves on, that even the most unsettling experiences eventually settle. It was a journey I hadn't expected, one that forced me to confront uncomfortable truths about myself and others. And yet, as I turned the corner towards home, a part of me couldn't help but wonder, does standing up for yourself always mean facing the storm?